What's up, everybody? It's Amon here. Hope you guys are having a great day. You guys see by the title what this is. I do want to make a few disclaimers about the fight because this is going to be a very interesting one. Got a few studies about everything I'm going to be doing here altogether, but pretty much we're going to be setting up this fight in a more literal standpoint. And what I mean by that, by literal, basically is the whole fight is going to be taking place at a place that stands into a neutral sort for both characters, but it's going to be very widespread. You feel me? But in this fight, you see by the title, it's going to be Reinhardt from Overwatch versus Reptile from Mortal Kombat. This fight might seem very one-sided if you agree on either form, but at the same time, it's going to be very interesting, personally to me, and I can't wait to set it all up. You feel me? So we're going to go and get into it. So I already talked a little bit about Reinhardt in the last fight, but pretty much to get Reinhardt together as a character, Reinhardt is pretty much this great, glorious knight in his own way. He's German. He's German second command general over an Iconval battle with the Omnics, and has a suit that can be comparable to Iron Man Mark 1, arguably. He has jetpack written kind of like not footing, but more like a repeller extension on his back that allows him to repel. It arguably has on the same level of speed as the Mark 20 jet, one of the fastest jets in the entire world, and our greatest jet in America if you're American. And it's on the same height and scent on his hammer. Let me just drink some water. Kind of had like a pickup there in my butt. Okay. I'm all good, It's a little bit tired, I'm not gonna lie. Just had something stuck in my throat. But to get back on what I was saying with Reinhardt, the central engine on his hammer is arguably at the same speed or even faster, and mixing it with the exponential weight and at the same time the exponential fast speed and height that this will be able to have and power is very powerful, is durable, and at the same time he has a lot of will. And when it comes to the version of Reinhardt we're using Overwatch 1 / current stable Reinhardt with a shield upgraded to the greatest important advancements onto his body. And when it comes to the improbable situation that this would be in for him, he's going to be, how do I say this, he's going to be very durable just with the armor, shield, and having great exterior combat abilities because of the hammer. But not just that, we're going to be giving Reinhardt just a little bit, because this might be a little bit of disadvantage, but for me personally, I want to give Reinhardt an extemporal suit, and not Overwatch 2 suit, because technically the same thing but more better advancements. But what I'm going to do, and I'm going to give him a more advanced shield, and at the same time I'm gonna give him a little bit of a boost and his other advancements onto his shield and to his suit. And what I mean by his shield is pretty much we're not gonna be having him use his normal current shield because it works, but against the pressure that you see this when I'm in this game put footage here, you see that a lot of the things that he's doing, it kind of just brings down a very unsmartable power source, and it's not really good in a lot of situations. And I'm not saying the shield can't do anything against Reptile, but this other shield will work a lot better. So you're using the Overwatch 2 shield, okay? And normal attachments will be onto his suit and all that, so you don't have to worry about how his body and the power and attack potency is going to be very unreliable in this situation, but it's going to be at a good heightened sense of his power. You feel me? It's not going to be very unequal, is what I'm trying to say. And that's pretty much it for Reinhardt. Obviously, there's a lot more, but that's where I scale him to small city level at best. And you guys probably already know a lot about Reinhardt from what I've talked about, but this is Reinhardt and all his glory, and pretty much it. And now we're going to go and talk about Reptile on a fast pace, you feel me? So Reptile, as you most already know, is from Mortal Kombat. Appeared technically the first Mortal Kombat game as a secret character, but his full appearance and actual storyline connection started in Mortal Kombat 2. Reptile's real name is Sarlian, and he's from a race called the Ansarians or Sarlians. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but pretty much his race was kind of like destroyed, but also just conquered and ran out from a sort of extinction. And they have a bunch of similarities to dinosaurs in a way, and basically deteriorate from that same species and are more evolved. They're from Earthrealm, but later on moved from sort of habits in Earthrealm at the time of the history that this is based on, mainly after the extinction of the dinosaurs, and moved out to a different realm over an Outworld. Now, Outworld is one single realm, but I'm pretty sure there are dimensions combining it. Not I almost said combining. I meant combining it to a different and cultural world. Like, it's not just normal dimensions, but also it's kind of like countries, but they're like spread out. So it could be another dimension or just an Outworld somewhere. But it pretty much made a kingdom and made life for himself. But when Shao Kahn grew in power after dethroning Onaga, he conquered his race and basically had Reptile in slavery in a way, but used him as an agent. And he mainly was a mercenary for Shang Tsung. And pretty much in this time, Shao Kahn and a few others, because Reptile works a lot for the main baddies and is always failing at a lot of stuff that he does, he basically was promised each time that his race would be summoned back to life, or at least more of his race would be confined together and made into a true single race for each other. But for the past games and the decades of time that Mortal Kombat has taken place in, this man Reptile has not gotten a break. His life is not going good, like at all. A lot of things are not good in place, and it's very bad for him. You feel me? And as a character, he's interesting, but it's very selfish. He's ignorant. He has a lot of unobservable self goals, and at the end of the day, it's just very hard for him to really be seen chronically in a lot of different assortments. But as it is, he's just, I wouldn't say a bland character, but a very spiritually connected character. He's not really sure about how he wants to do things. His mental state is unpresentable to what he should be doing, because arguably we can make, as the fans and people who see the situation realistically, that he should just stop and maybe try to think about different things. He's a puppet to all these people. Shao Kahn, Shang Tsung, Shinnok, almost forgot his name, Onaga, nigga, anybody that he even comes across as a big baddie, they don't care about him. This nigga's body was used to resurrect arguably one of the most powerful villains in the series. So, I mean, it's really like, you can't do nothing with him. And he doesn't really seem to have a very presentable goal, or a goal that can be reached. It's very hard to assign him as a character, because, like, the dude is literally just a war soldier. That's it. And a soldier is meant for war a lot of times, but he is a soldier in his own right. He can fight. He's a warrior. The dude's a fucking reptilian ninja, bro. I think he's cool, but to basically go out in very spanning times of his development and how he is a poetic character to self-doubt, it's sad in his own right as a character that this is the way he is, but it's also like he's bland because of it. I think he's cool, but if you go more into it, bro, the dude's literally just like the Lizard from Marvel Comics. He's bland, has interesting traits, but never gets a break. Is always being turned to a villain when nigga technically isn't one. I mean, he's a bad person. He does not care for what other people think or how they are, and is a monster. But at the same time, man, like, his goal is redeemable. You feel me? Like, he just would stop going on the wrong sides and being a lot more realistic. Half of that probably would not happen. No cap. But that's besides the point for just how we're going to scale him and all of that. But I just want to kind of spread my opinion on him, you feel me? But Reptile as a fighter knows multiple different martial arts, mainly martial arts that I looked up that he has learned and has mastered into his own retep. Like, what is it called again? Not retep, but reptilian. Not reptilian. Reptilian offerings. Not. Okay. I cannot talk today, bro. What I'm trying to say is his reptilian species. and at the same time has used it to grow this more biological and functional body type to the martial arts by using his abilities to the martial arts. Great factors of skill. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say. Still can't talk. Let me just drink some water real quick. Okay, I'm all good. To correct myself just on one thing, reptilian artificial skills in the martial art so he can make it better. That is all I was trying to say, just to make that clear. Okay, I'm not gonna mess up anymore, and I don't do this a bunch. It's just that this is a lot of commentating. But like I was saying with the martial arts, Kwando, Shindo, and I don't know if I'm gonna be saying this right, but mix Kichwon Muay Thai. Pretty much a Mongolian-centric martial art that basically involves kind of Mexico Bear, but it's not exactly like it. He basically staggers on his opponent and basically is versatile and is using his speed and prodding in blows. So a mix of just straight A boxing, but using it more profoundly. And because he has claws, bone claws as well, and he extend them, very versatile, very acrobatic, one of the most acrobatic characters in the Mortal Kombat series. He's fast, he's able to turn invisible, spit acid, make acid bubbles, able to expand projectiles in that way, able to make acid like slide materials where he's able to slide under people and do very cool shit. He's able to blend in with different areas, kind of shapeshift, and do other things like that. Yeah, that's pretty much it for Reptile when it comes to his abilities and how he is. But that's really all it that would counterfeit against Reinhardt. The only things that both of these characters will have in a disadvantage in their versatile equipment is Reinhardt has better defense, obviously. He's a lot more stronger than Reptile. Reptile's never shown any big strength feats. He is very fast. He's arguably way faster than Reinhardt, but Reinhardt catch up with him, as Reinhardt is arguably able to go 20 miles an hour. And Reptile, from his speed, he's been able to keep up with people like Scorpion and like Taven, and to some extent Sub-Zero, but he always gets outclassed by them, and Taven is way stronger than him, not even an exaggeration. So that's not really a big kind of fit. But when he's fighting someone like Sub-Zero, that's a better feat because Sub-Zero is able to freeze him, and his weakness would be the exotic cold and the maximum zero of heightening of the winter that basically Sub-Zero is summoning upon him because he is cold-blooded, but at the same time Reptile, his durability is basically more advanced than a normal reptilian body structure, but it still hurts him. He's just more, how would you say it, like a lot more adversible to it. Like it's not gonna affect them completely, but with enough damage and enough height and extent of his cold abilities, it's not really gonna be a big chance for him because it's too much, and Reptile can easily be caught off guard and be staggered. Sub-Zero has easily tagged him multiple different times. But again, it's still a good feat because of all of the cold heightening of abilities that Sub-Zero can do with his cold abilities, from ice blocks, razor sharp and sprintable abilities. All of that goes hand in hand, mainly just because of the fact that if you see him do all of this on the fly and basically is separating all this damage to him and making his body water out and still be able to keep up but still getting beat, it shows that he has a heightened skill level compared to Sub-Zero, but he isn't a better fighter. But even if Sub-Zero is doing all this and basically freezing his body to maximum zero, he's still able to keep up. And most characters can do this, but it's very severe for Reptile because he's a reptile, cold-blooded. Cold is the main severe weakness for him. I mean, this is pretty self-explanatory. But Sub-Zero's cold abilities is basically the winter highness of Canada times 1,000, bro. It's bad. It's bad when it comes to Reptile. But still, that's really not really going to be a big factor. But I'm saying with Reinhardt's ear technique and with more of the electric engine gas coming out from his hammer and also from his back that could possibly just take out Reptile by just being near it, and also not really being a viable set for Reptile to go against. Pretty much Reinhardt has it a lot in the bag, but Reptile's only main compressed defenses against that is his speed, being out in the open, and weighing down in the shield. It's going to take a lot, and you see here in this recording, the shield takes a lot to get down, even though these are just bots. In the game, it takes a lot, but a lot of pressure and more of the citric magical abilities Reptile has learned and has mastered in his techniques. Reinhardt might have a big problem, but the main thing that is arguably a question in this is Reptile's acid able to go through like Reinhardt's armor and all different parts of his body structure. He could easily incinerate him if he wasn't wearing that armor, arguably, but I'm saying that, but did I say that right? Arguably? Yeah, say it right, pretty sure. Anyway, if he was able to do that, then it's arguably in the bag for him. And Reinhardt is very durable and keep up, but against asset like this, that is a more dangerous height in this speed, and is also very dangerous, not even exaggeration. He arguably couldn't do shit against them, because him just going straight in with the defensive tactic and offense, or being a fucking glider in a scenario, not being very concentrated and calculated, Reptile can ease him up and just kill him at that point. Especially if you take in consideration that Reptile has a long tongue and could possibly, with the strength and eccentric will that this tongue has been able to basically heat at, he could arguably kill him just like that, and he wouldn't be able to do nothing. But at the same time, Reinhardt, even without his hammer, or possibly breaking off the eccentric part of his shield, wouldn't weigh him down completely, but it would be very hard for Reinhardt to touch him. But I do believe if he possibly gets his hands on him, he could easily kill him, but it just depends. But those are pretty much all the disadvantages for Reinhardt and Reptile. Reptile having better close range, but Reinhardt having the more durable and extentful power than Reptile. But it isn't going to be completely in the bag for either, I feel like. But I'm going to go ahead and discuss the rest of that just in a second. Let me just get this real quick. Okay. So, when it comes down to how the battle will go, I feel like Reinhardt is very acceptable to this type of fight. He will learn, adapt in some situations, and weigh in his chances. And Reptile will be all about the fight being violent. And he's a brutal fucking killer, and at the same time is a malignant monster in a way. The dude is a nightmare in a lot of scenarios. The dude does not play around. Dude's a fucking unstoppable creature when it comes to most of these fights. I mean, one of the best fighters still have a problem with him, but he's not fully unstoppable, you feel me? And I was on the microphone and just turn it off sometimes. But at the same time, when it comes all down to it, dude's very incorruptible. And what I mean by incorruptible, I mean he's very combative when it comes to how he uses his abilities. They're not bad, but it's like they're not the best eccentric tool in the situation. When it comes to this fighting skill and experience, Reptile has a lot more. Who's more tactical in a way? I would say that goes to Reinhardt, but Reptile would say is a lot more smarter. He's lived for longer. Dude's species is arguably the best essential evolution of, when it comes down to Reinhardt's and Reptile's cumulative mindset. Reptile species is more better in a tactical and smart engraving factor, mainly because Reptile species has better ideologically than the human from the evolution and explorable factor that they bring. And just in general, Reptile has been against better opponents, better calculable and resentful mindsets, and in general I just see that as the main focal point for all of it, you feel me? But that's kind of just more situational depending on it, but it doesn't mean Reinhardt is pretty much singled out. But who I really think will win this fight in general, it really depends. But I feel like Reinhardt has the better defense aspect. The reptile is faster. But if Reinhardt keeps getting them with good defense, blows, and staggers up on Reptile I feel like is going to trip himself in the fight and not really be able to do anything. And when Reinhardt really just catches up to him and fucks him up, there's really nothing he can do from the looks of it. But I'm not trying to say that just to say that he can't do anything. I'm just saying, like, in general, there's not that much he can really do. But that's the way I feel. In my own personal opinion, I believe that Reinhardt wins. But tell me what you guys think. I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Peace out, Marmy.